So I'm coming before you today because I've been monitoring this whole Steven Crowder situation. And, I'm dressed as the good church woman and with the pearls and all that. But what I'm not understanding is how anyone in their right mind can say that there's any context to which what we have seen, that there is some point, there's some level in being a good husband that somehow his now ex wife deserved what she got. So, we're going to talk about this, and I'm going to talk about why all of these folks are dead wrong, why he's dead wrong, and how we cannot just continue to allow narcissistic abusive behavior, misogyny, overt and ridiculous levels of patriarchy that are toxic masculinity to continue to go on unfettered because we may agree with one's political beliefs. Let's talk about it. Are you ready for some real thought-provoking conversations that lead to spiritual wisdom and discovery to provide you with clear direction on every area of your life? Well, sit back and relax. You've made it to the right place. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to Heart of Inspiration. Hi there, my name is Dr. Lisa Brewer. I am the Oracle, and I am what some people lovingly call Heart, the Heart of Inspiration. I want to welcome all of you to this channel, and I hope that you do find this a thought-provoking conversation, and that if you're seeing this on Sunday, April 30th, that you join us for a live conversation that we will be having a little bit later on this evening to talk about this. But let's get into Steven Crowder. Now, before I start, I want to just put something up here right now. The copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. So we're going to be reviewing a number of different videos today, at least some of them. But and I want to state that this is fair use because we are teaching you something about everything. Steven Crowder, for those of you who do not know who he is a commentator, a pundit, he's got louder with Crowder. He was with the Blaze Network. He has a almost 6 million subscriber YouTube channel. He is definitely conservative, definitely Christian, self-proclaimed. He just signed like this huge deal with Rumble. He's been beefing with Candace Owens and Daily Mail. Now, y'all know on this channel, I am not a huge Candace Owens fan, and at all, at all. But right is right, wrong is wrong. A broke clock can be right twice every day, right? So right is right, wrong is wrong. And so he's got this beef with Candace Owens. He's got this beef with the Daily Mail. He's got this beef with all these people. And, for a while now, I've known who he is. I've watched some of his stuff. He's probably best known for Change My Mind. He'll go on college campuses or on the street, put up mainly college campuses, put up a table, have this things that's changed my mind. And, he'll say some thought-provoking things and encourage people to change his mind, okay, about whatever, any manner of things. Go look it up if you care to. What I want to talk about, though, is this toxicity and this disgusting behavior. I'm sure most all of you saw the video that is on TikTok where he is berating and verbally and emotionally abusing his 8-month pregnant wife with twins in their backyard a month prior to him having, they're calling it elective surgery. I think it was probably life threatening at some point, or would have been. he had an issue with his sternum and something with the bones. And but anyway, he's berating and belittling and controlling, and it's very disgusting. This video that there's, people are saying got leaked, whatever. It was put out here. And most people are saying right now, most men, and there are lots of conservative women that are agreeing with this, that the reason why his ex-wife, Hilary, they've been going through this divorce for 2 years, that the reason why his ex-wife, Hilary, put it out was because of a statement that he made on Tuesday, April, oh God, what day would that be? Let me look and see. Tuesday the 25th, where he said he chose wrong. I'm going to purport to you all that that's such a simplistic attitude to say, oh, this woman reacted this way and put out, or the family put out proof that he is a butthole because he said he chose wrong. I'm going to show you the entirety of the statement that he made on his show, Louder with Crowder, on Tuesday. It's going to be under the Fair Use Doctrine. We're going to stop it and start it. And I'm going to come at you, or come tell you this from the perspective of one who has not only dealt with in a marriage narcissistic abuse. My father was a raging narcissist, physically as well as emotionally, verbally abusive in the household. I have counseled many, many women, some men, but many, many women who have suffered from the same abuse. And when you're familiar with how a narcissist behaves, when you hear the statements that this man made in regard to his divorce, I think you'll agree with me. So what we're going to do is we're going to share this video file with you. This is his divorce announcement that was being made.
Hey, we'll be on with your regular programming, and Nick DiPaolo in third chair in a little bit, but needed to take a moment here to address some issues out there.
Okay. Hopefully you guys can hear that. If not, I will replay this. I don't know what the settings are. Let me make sure it's playing. So this is his statement that he's making, and he's saying, hey, I know that y'all came here to see something else, but here we go.
That are circulating. It's never fun. But, well, I guess let me be clear here. I have been living with a proverbial boot on my neck for going on years now.
So he's been operating with a boot on his neck. Well, what, Stephen? Pray tell us that.
Since 2021, I've been living through what has increasingly been a horrendous divorce. Now, let me say on the outset, to be clear, there is no infidelity, any kind of physical abuse at all on either side. And no, this was not my choice.
Which we're going to find out may or may not be true. But I want you to hear very clearly what's being stated. He's been living through what has now become a horrendous divorce. There was no infidelity. And he very specifically states no physical abuse. No physical abuse. The next few words are going to be very interesting.
My then wife decided that she didn't want to be married anymore. And in the state of Texas, that is completely permitted. It's been the most heartbreaking experience of my life, what I consider to be my deepest personal failure. And just so you know, my opinions on parenting and families have not changed. I've always believed that children need a mom and a dad, that divorce is horrible. And I still believe that children need a mom and a dad and that divorce is horrible. But in today's legal system, my beliefs don't matter.
The reason why I'm dissecting this, guys, is because I've heard so many men on the conservative side, the passport bros, the women all need to submit, the, whatever, that group that basically has to buy every woman that they ever get. They themselves have reduced themselves to being nothing more than an ATM machine. That's according to them, right? They provide, they have the finances, that makes them quality. Doesn't matter that they appear to me to be jerks, idiots, and God knows, I don't even know how any woman could hold a legitimate conversation with these yahoos. I don't know how many brain cells are still functioning or ever were. This gentleman, at least, you could have a legitimate and intellectual conversation with him. At least he has that going for him. Some of the other guys, yeah, you can too. That's not completely fair. But some of the main ones that are coming to his aid and support are some of the main ones that are just like, women, you have to submit and you have to be a size 2. You better bounce back right after you have a kid. You better hurry up and have that kid too. And then you better hurry and bounce back and still cook, clean, do everything else. You got to submit and be whatever for me, right? Be my slave, be my property because I'm paying for you. His statement about, and the law allowed her to do that. Are we living under some sort of Sharia law? Are we living under some, correct me if I'm wrong, but is this what y'all are saying in the Christian world now? Or in the manosphere, whether it be the melanated manosphere or the white manosphere? That you own your wife and that your wife does not have the right to make her own decision to leave you when you're an ass. She has to stay no matter what, through verbal abuse, mental, emotional, no matter what, you own her. Now, if I'm her name is Hilary, by the way. If I'm Hilary and I'm hearing this or someone played it for me, I'm already incensed. I'm already like, what the But wait, there's more.
In Texas, divorce is permitted when one party wants it.
Shocking.
Period. So for well over a year, in the best interest as well as physical safety of my children,
best interest in physical safety. Exactly who in the hell was going to come do anything to your toddler twins? Or are you intimating now that Hilary somehow is mentally or physically incapable of caring for your children? And if it were to get out that somehow, oh my God, she would snap and she wouldn't be able to take care of these kids. Because that feels like, Stephen Crowder, what you're intimating.
Decided to keep this issue private and to resolve it privately with the appropriate attorneys, what have you, legal jargon. And all this, one thing I want to be really clear about is certain. True north here is that my children are blameless.
I'm sorry, Stephen. I want any woman who has born children, in or out of wedlock, I don't care. If your ex, the father of your children had the audacity, the unmitigated gall to state the children are blameless in this, and that's true north, isn't that a given? On what planet would your kids be at fault for the two of you breaking up? Delusional.
Completely without fault, and so we decided to resolve these issues privately, as it's in their best interests, both emotionally and physically, to do so.
So why bring it up now? Because I'm going to be honest with you, until this very day, on that Tuesday, I had no idea they were getting a divorce. I had no clue that this was even happening. So why bring it up? Nobody knew.
Now, the other issue is, and this is something that I've kept private for likely far too long, many other people knew about this behind the scenes. Some, not all, but some of them in positions of power, influence, leverage, knew of this. They also knew that the safety of my children included keeping it private. So if you're familiar with the idea of extortion, then you know the feeling well.
So you kept it private from the public, which is fine. We didn't need to know. That's your business. That's between you and your wife. But the one thing I can tell you a narcissist hates, detests, is when their dirty laundry is aired in public. When someone outside of a controlled group of people or people that they feel that they can exercise a level of control over, or they can keep the facade up and they don't have, right, they can keep the mask up. So, or they feel that they've kept that mask up. So if that information, so if they cannot make sure that who they are and what they're seen as and who they're known as, right? They can't maintain that control. Anybody outside of that is not allowed to know what's going on behind closed doors. So on the one hand, he said he kept it very private. On the other hand, he says, oh, but there are some people that knew. That's the people you felt like you could control the narrative with, because at all costs, their facade needs to be kept up.
Now, some of these threats were so thinly veiled that I'm frankly surprised you didn't all guess immediately.
Now here comes the trash of it all. So what he's saying, so threat to who? He's saying someone was threatening him with extortion? What are you talking about? On what planet do you, but this is the narcissistic planet. This is the narcissistic planet. This is how the narcissist thinks. They assume that everything that's being said in front of or behind their back is about them because they are the most important right thing in the world. So this is where we get to the beef here.
Stephen has a lot going on, I guess is the best way to say it. He has a lot going on, and that should be clear because people don't do stuff like this if there's no.
And this January 24th was all when all this information had come out about him and the Daily Mail. And, you know, he and the Blaze had already separated. Like he worked for the Blaze in a, like they were funding him, right? So he was getting a paycheck and it was normal. And then he wanted to go out on his own, but then he was going to go to the Daily Mail because he knows those guys over there. And then he recorded some, what should have been private conversations and outed them, like played them on his show. Like he did a lot of weird stuff and we can go over that another time. But at that point, I'm just like, what are you doing? Like it was my spidey senses started to go off a little bit, but I'm like, okay. But now listening to this here, when I heard this on Tuesday, I was like, what the hell are you talking about? And it began to click for me because I want you to understand why Hilary and probably her family felt the need to put this out. Because the one way you have to fight effectively against the energetic vampire that is the narcissist is putting sunlight on everything that they do.
Well, my children have a right to privacy. Now, some other issues have been, or I should say, inferences have been more pernicious behind the scenes with demands and threats to use this information that they believe would be so publicly embarrassing to me and my wife at a difficult time that it could be used. No.
He's still referring to her as his wife. Their divorce is now final. He can't get it through his head that he no longer has his own perceived ownership over her, nor does he still have control. The way narcissists work, do his children and his wife, by the way, have a right to privacy? Absolutely. Then why the hell are you saying this right now? Because if you don't say this, this is the kicker of it all. You don't say this, it doesn't come out. You don't say this, Candace Owens doesn't sue you for defamation. You don't say this, the three minute or the edited Ring video doesn't get out. You don't say this, but you're so concerned about people finding out. Finally, because now it's about to become public information and you can't stop it. You can't stop from the public finding out because that's the world, that's the country we live in, that you and Hilary are now officially divorced. So you felt the need to get out in front of it rather than just let it be.
Knowingly putting my children in harm's way.
And what harm's way? People are saying, oh, I chose wrong. He's about to say that that's why, that somehow Hilary is so incapable of any other logical thought. And that we women are so driven and we're so Looney Tunes that the minute a man says, oh, I chose wrong, that's going to send us over the edge. No. You are repeatedly inferring somehow that my mental health is so fragile that if this gets out in a certain way, I'm going to harm the kids. That's the inference this man is making. Don't get it twisted. And I'm going to ask any of you fools, and I'm going to call you a fool. Any of you fools that are just like, oh, we didn't need the context. This is the context. What else do you need to see? This man is continually inferring that her mental health is in such a poor state that if anybody talks about the fact that they have gotten a divorce, oh my God, the poor woman's going to lose it. She's going to go in there and she's going to harm them babies because he looks just like him. What the hell? I don't care. Who knew?
And in understanding the best interests of my family, my children kept their word and used discretion. I loved a woman so much that I married her. A woman who, despite all of this, I still love as the mother of my children. And she wanted something else for her life. That's not my choice. She simply wanted out, and the law says that that's how it works. Now, of course, look, I get it. There are multiple sides to every story, but one thing that is undeniable in this case is that it's no one's fault but my own in that I picked wrong. And one thing that is undeniable in this case is that it's no one's fault but my own in that I picked wrong. And that's certainly not the fault of my children.
So this is the precursor for why we got the ring video. Nothing else. I want you to hear what he did. He inferred that somehow her mental health was so fragile that she could potentially harm his children, their children. This is why this needed to be kept secret for the physical well-being of his children. More than once. He says, oh, my children are blameless. That usually means somehow you blame the fact that your marriage fell apart and you lost control over your now ex-wife. She's your ex-wife. Because she bore those children and her maternal instinct kicked in. And once that maternal instinct kicked in, she chose to have a peaceful life for herself and her children, as peaceful as is possible, in trying to co-parent with a potential alleged narcissist, which is my opinion. It's my opinion, and I'm allowed to have that. She chose that over dealing with the abuse that we've seen. I mean, that's there. So we'll follow up this video with another one, and we'll talk about that. But I wanted to lay out why everyone's dead wrong about whether or not the statement of I chose wrong somehow sends a woman over the deep end and we can't handle it. Get over yourselves. Get over yourselves. It is less whether or not you feel like you chose wrong, because guess what? I'm sure she feels like she made the biggest damn mistake she ever could and hung in there for 10 years. God bless that woman. Hung in there for 10 years. Couldn't do it no more. Don't blame her. Guys, thank you so much for being here. I so very much appreciate it. We're going to have some more videos on this as I take this apart from a healer's point of view. And if you are dealing with empathic, if you're dealing with abuse at the hands of your significant other, I want you to get help. I hear you. We're going to put some information in these description boxes. And we also have healers and coaches and mentors and teachers that can help you through and to get freed from toxic relationships, get yourself healed, get yourself to mental, physical, emotional safety and energetic safety, as well as your children. You don't need to stay there. You don't need to stay there. All right, guys, if to work with me, interact with me, or you want to become someone that helps people get out of these situations, if that's what your purpose is, or part of your purpose, I want you to go down and either come to my next free web class, 5 Steps to Start Your Spiritual Business, or book a call with myself or my team so we can discuss that as well. Peace, love, blessings, and joy be unto you today, tomorrow, and for all eternity. I love you guys. Namaste.